Hello everybody, welcome back to Wedding Wednesdays. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. Today we are going to be talking about styles of Christmas weddings. This video is going to be aimed more at brides that are about a year out from planning, so not the brides that currently, like, we're going to December and your wedding is this month. I'm sorry, this isn't as much geared towards you. This is geared towards the people in the future who are thinking about planning their Christmas weddings and they don't know where to start. So we have 7 different Christmas style weddings for you guys today that we're going to be talking about. The styles of weddings that we're going to be talking about today are rustic Christmas weddings, white Christmas, traditional Christmas weddings, romantic, like Christmas night vibes, tree farm weddings, ski lodge weddings, and possibly my favorite, which I'm saving for last, the white Gothic Christmas. So stick around to get an idea of what all these weddings are, to brainstorm for your future. And let's start talking about how you could decorate for a traditional Christmas wedding. Traditional Christmas weddings are really nice because with traditional weddings, you get like that sense of generational like love, and you get the like old nostalgia vibes, and you get to like really lean into old traditions. And I think that's really sweet and really special. But if you're doing a traditional wedding, I really embrace it in the decor too. I choose a venue that makes you think like old cottage. So maybe think of something with wood or warm tones or cobble, or maybe that like German style decoration like you can find at the Baurhaus. Something that is already decorated and you think Christmas when you walk in that space, because that would be nice because it'll take down the amount that you have to decorate. I definitely put up a few trees, but I wouldn't do flock trees. This time I would stick to plain pine trees, and I would definitely load them up. Think as old-fashioned as you can get. Maybe go with those like retro colored Christmas ornaments, some like dangled gold and silver tinsel, and all red and green. Decorate everywhere with red and green. So if you have the opportunity to do like table decor, make it red and green. Put out pine decorations, maybe decorate with holly. I would do a mix of both Christmas lights everywhere and some candles, but I would maybe do fake candles in this situation. I just feel like it'll match with the LED vibe that you've got going on already. When it comes to a cake, I would maybe think about doing something with like a gold drip. The other thing I would do if I were decorating for a traditional wedding is I would do tall floral arrangements. So what I mean by that is your flower arrangements are on some sort of like pedestal, so that they are like above everyone's head. So you have your table, you have these like pillars or something, and then your floral arrangements are on top of that. So you've got a nice like sense of height going across. Adding height off your table definitely adds to that luxury without you having to do much work. So, and there are a lot of flower companies, especially in this area, that already do this. If you're looking at all flower arrangements, I see nobody better at this than Zeidler's in the area. So definitely give them a call, see what they have to offer, because every time that they pull up and they have tall flower arrangements, it just looks stunning. So I would definitely look into that. The other thing that I do if I were hosting a traditional Christmas wedding is I would definitely be sure to add traditions into it. So if you got some old family traditions, definitely make sure that they're a participant in, or make sure that you do that. If you're setting up a tree, something that I would do is I would provide the ornaments as your guest book. Everybody in your family can sign an ornament and put it on the tree. Or be sure to do the generational dance or the marriage dances or those sorts of things. Or come up with your own unique tradition that you start at your wedding. Or see if other members in your family will start tacking this on as they get married as well. Create your own thing that people will remember and think back on. But traditional weddings are definitely for family and for loved ones, and so I'd be sure that they are celebrated and well loved in those. Okay, moving on from traditional weddings, because everybody does traditional weddings, so you kind of know what to expect more with those than other weddings. Let's go into some untraditional weddings for a little bit. Another totally unique wedding trend that I'm seeing right now is Christmas tree farm weddings. Now these, I have a feeling, might be a little bit more tricky because A, you've got to find a tree farm that's willing to host a wedding. However, Most tree farms that I've ever worked with have been really nice, kind, and considerate, and they're usually super enthusiastic that you want to do something outside of the norm at their place, especially if you're going to have them be tagged in photos and videos and stuff like that. They're going to be excited for the opportunity, so that might not be as hard. You just kind of got to ask around, see who'd be available or who'd be into this. But essentially, you set up your wedding in a little tree farm. The weddings that I've seen that have taken place in a tree farm, it's usually more of just reception. Yeah, it's a little colder, so you definitely want to set this up in early December before it gets super freezing. And also, you want to set it up in early December too. You don't want all the trees to be cut down and gone just yet. So early December weddings, if you're thinking about like first week of December, this might be for you. But you set up a long table with like lots of reds and like holly, all those sorts of things. Usually these are kept more lighter and brighter. You hang string lights up above, maybe like crisscrossed over where the dance floor would be. Plan to bring plenty of space heaters and maybe provide a bucket of blankets for your guests. And then beyond that, it's just like super cute and unique. I'd also make this a smaller wedding if you were doing like maybe like another 50 to 100 person wedding at most. But essentially you're sitting in the middle of a tree farm and you're having a good time with your guests and your friends and families and loved ones in a super ornate, unique little area. And something else that I've been seeing people do, and you have the opportunity to do this around here, is I've seen people purchase like heated igloos for these. Heated igloos are really cool. There's a renting company, and I'm not sure who they are, in this area that you can rent from, and they will pull up and provide you with heated igloos. But essentially it's like this igloo that's like covered in this clear plastic so you can see through it, but there's usually a space heater inside so your guests can get warm in there. They can socialize. It's usually really comfy, super cozy, just enough for like 6 to 8 people to sit around and laugh and have a good time. I have a feeling that if you're doing this is going to be more the kind of wedding where you're going to want to sit and socialize and not like be a dancing kind of wedding. So if you're not really into dancing, maybe consider this as your wedding and provide like games like cornhole or things like that, so your guests can just more chit chat and have a good time, but it'll also be very beautiful and your photographers will still love it, even though there's not really dancing happening. It's still going to be gorgeous, it's going to be fun, it's going to be unique for your guests. And if you're doing this, I would totally recommend as your unity activity, plant a tree. One of my bride and grooms did this. It was like one of my very first weddings that I ever photographed like 10 years ago. And I haven't seen it again, but I'm like hoping to one day. But they had this little tree that they picked out. I think it was like a pine tree because their wedding was a winter wedding. And they took dirt from both their birthplaces and they poured their dirt in to make it one, you know? And it was super cute. I absolutely loved it. And then they had this little tree that they could take care of. But you're already in a tree farm, so why not just, you know, plant a tree as well? So yeah, that's a totally cute idea. If you're planning for an outdoor tree farm wedding though, the one thing you may want to consider is bring extra lighting, bring extra blankets, bring space heaters, and bring extension cords, plenty of them, because you never know what the area you're working with has. So plan to bring a bunch, have everyone in your family pull together and grab them and then redistribute them after, so you have plenty of extension cords for what you need that day. Okay guys, so only 2 more styles of Christmas weddings left for me to talk about today. The next Christmas wedding that I'd like to talk about is a twist off the traditional, not crazy different. This is your romantic Christmas night wedding. So these weddings specifically will take place at night. So what I'd recommend for this is having your ceremony beforehand, have it small at the church or wherever you're gonna have it, maybe a few people, and then have a bigger reception later at night. The whole vibe of this is to take place at night. You're gonna forego a lot more decorations. So my recommendation while you're doing this is choose a venue that is already naturally gorgeous, one that doesn't take much decorating. The next tip that I have for you is the day after Christmas this year, go out and buy every single strand of Christmas lights off the shelf that you can. Try to make sure that they're all similar, so like they all have white bulbs or whatever style bulbs, all the bulbs you want to be the same, so that way when you're not looking across it, you got some like blue LEDs and some white LEDs. Make it a unit, but buy as many as you can while they're on discount, because your goal is to be decorating with as many Christmas lights as possible. That is your decoration. And you're gonna want to decorate with candles, and then beyond that, you're gonna want to totally keep it simple. And maybe what you don't use in decorating money, you provide to an experience. So you're already having like a low-key night wedding. Night weddings are really unique because a lot of people show up and they're ready to party because they haven't spent the whole day with you. They're not exhausted. They aren't like, you know, waiting to go home at this point. They're ready to go. They're ready to celebrate. So set up your wedding to be a party. Get a nice DJ and plan for the experience. What you don't put towards decorations, I would maybe put towards having like a fancy dinner meal, something that's nice. You're gonna have like a candlelit vibe anyways, so you may as well have a nice dinner to go with it. And then plan for some awesome slow dances because you're gonna be in the dark, it's gonna be night lit, and it's gonna be gorgeous. The one thing you should be aware of if you're going this route is it is gonna be a dimmer wedding. So expect your photographers to either be using heavy flash or to really embrace that grain and that motion blur. So kind of pick and choose if you're cool with that, but it could totally be a moment. I would not have the DJ add a lot of extra like lights that are interfering with your vibe. I would totally leave it be candlelit and just be very nice and traditional. Okay, last wedding to talk about. This might be my absolute favorite, and I just ran across it yesterday. I am seriously in love. It's like a twist off of the white Christmas weddings. I discovered it when I was stumbling, or when I was like doing my research on Pinterest last night, and I don't know, it's just beautiful. Ugh. Okay, this is an Ivory Gothic winter wedding. So this is really hard to mood board. So because whenever you Google Gothic weddings, I guarantee you're gonna pull up a ton of Halloween weddings, and that's not the vibe we're going for. We are going for Christmas. Just kind of follow along. I'm gonna create a little mood board for you that I'm gonna put across this video that you can use to set up your winter wedding. First of all, what you need to do is choose a venue very pickily. Or you need to be very picky when choosing your venue. You want to find a space that's Victorian or plain. And while being plain, it needs to either be white or black. You might be able to get away with the old courthouse. You would have especially been able to get away with the old courthouse like last year, but they just recently, they had a side white room that barely got used, but it was just white crown molding everywhere and it was totally gorgeous. But they recently repainted it green to match the room next to it, which I understand. I'm very personally sad about it because I love the white room, but Jesse, my partner, who you haven't seen at a wedding Wednesday yet, but I'm gonna bring him on some point. We were talking about it. He loves it, so but you would have been able to get away with it whenever it was painted for that then, but it's no longer painted like that. So I found some venues in Indy that if you're wanting to do this route that you should look into, and there are 3 places in Indy that you can totally get by with this style and it would work. The first one is Piper's at the Marrot. I actually did a wedding there a few years back, but the pictures are so old and so many hard drives back that I can't dig them up to show you. But essentially there's a ballroom and marble columns, and beyond that it's kind of bare, so you can totally do it in there. And they've also got their main atrium right next to it, which is a white brick building with like built-in brick arches to the side. So a lot of times people set up their ceremony in there and the reception in the ballroom, and that would totally be gorgeous. It is a very classy space. It is a hotel, so you can rent a room, the night before, get ready there, go downstairs, have your ceremony in that little atrium, and then go to the crystal room and have your reception. So it's totally gorgeous, all nice in one spot. The outside of it too kind of looks like the old movie theaters where they have like tons of the bulbs and everything, so you can get some really cool night shots while having that style be inside. The other 2 venues that I would look at is Hotel Carmichael. And then the Severin, I'm gonna butcher this, so I apologize now, you can read it off the screen. I believe it's pronounced the Omni Severin Hotel. But these are all 3 gorgeous Victorian looking inspired spaces that are plain. They don't have much color in them. I don't know what the rates of any of them are, so if you're interested in that, go check them out yourself. They're on the screen so you can at least type them in and figure out what you want. But essentially, when you're decorating for this, you need a color palette of 4 things. You need white, black, gray, tan. No other colors. So very like muted palette. You're gonna decorate with sheer cloth. You're gonna decorate with candles of all different sizes. Maybe some natural greenery. This is your excuse to go fancy as all get out. If I were doing this theme, I would choose either a black and white ball gown, or I would choose a like vintage wedding dress, or maybe wear your mom's wedding dress, or do something totally classy. You can really go any direction with the dress, which is really nice for this vibe because not many people have done this, so kind of establish your own setup. The one thing that I would make sure to do is I would ask your guests to dress up cocktail party, or this is a big or though, this isn't up to your personal opinion. You could make this a opportunity to have a ball because you are going to be in a like nice Victorian ballroom. So if you wanted to, you could make a whole event out of it and you could set up yourself a little masquerade ball. Now, if you're not into masquerade balls or you don't feel like committing that much to a theme, setting up a cocktail hour style of dress code would be really nice for your guests so that they know to come showing up dressed nicely. As far as decorations go, I would have a tall wedding cake. I would set up vintage things, maybe hanging chandeliers if possible. It's not hard to find chandeliers on Etsy and Amazon, or maybe in the Facebook marketplaces from past brides that you can hang like maybe off of like old coat racks or things like that you can put around different random places to add accents. I would definitely set up plants. I would set up old china on the tables if possible. If not, maybe depression wear on the tables as well. Your wedding portraits, you want to hire somebody who's going to make them feel like they're old and traditional. So this is more for your artsy couples. So what I mean by old and traditional is if you want to embrace the old Dutch master style, you've got the venue, you've got everything going for you. Set it up, do the mooding Rembrandt lighting, and like do the unique poses, like pull out the old vintage furniture and do like the awesome lounges and like, you know, all those sorts of things in your wedding portraits. Take every portrait like it's art. Don't treat it like it's a snapshot. Every portrait should be art because you're in the space to really go hard with it and have the most epic photos possible. I don't know, something about this style just speaks to old souls like me. I don't know, I'm an old soul a little bit. So I totally love this vibe. I think it's very vintage. I think it's very unique. I think you have the opportunity to twist it and make it a moment and an event that people can remember for a long time to come. So these are all of my Christmas ideas. I hope you like them. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and happy December. Thank you so much for watching.